Welcome back for another episode of the Foundation to Finish series. In this video, we are on site at the Bella Lake Resort, so you'll be seeing the assembly process of the CLT Butterfly Cottages and a few other things. If you're new to Build Society or haven't seen the other video about these cottages, you might want to check it out. There are 10 cottages, but most of what you'll see here is of the last two, since they are all pretty much identical. Let's start out at the foundations, which have the floor components on them already. The foundations are open on the side facing the lake, so this is what it looks like underneath. Having the floors elevated is an advantage for installing and accessing plumbing, electrical, and heating. Now, in the last video for this build, I explained how the cottages are split into two units, and the center partition has two sides. This is the right side of that partition coming now, and the left side with all the rock wool will follow. These and the long exterior walls have the LVLs for reinforcement as they overhang the foundation on the lakeside. The guy on the right is laying down a sealant on the bottom plate that the wall is set on. This acts as a gasket and is applied on all the exterior wall connections. Those yellow braces secure the walls and they are adjustable, which helps to set the walls plumb. Coming in now is a small dividing wall, which is more of an aesthetic feature for the left unit. Up next are the end walls and the long side walls. I'd say the installation goes quite smoothly. It's only once the roofs come in that it can get a bit tricky. Here are the roof components, one side on top of the other. As I mentioned in the last video, they were mostly built on site. The tops or rafter pieces were done in the shop. Truss packages make up the midsections, and large CLT panels double as the substructures and ceilings. This is what was used to build the roofs. It's like a large jig based off of the layout and contour of the walls. The crane cables are attached to the roof framing, so now that the walls and roofs are set and secured, our guy in the man lift can disconnect them and patch up the plywood and underlayment. While all this is going on, concrete is being poured inside a bunch of cottages. Audie and I are adding sloped forms and covering the walls to protect them from concrete splashes. This is to provide the cottages with radiant in-floor heat. Tubing is encased in 80mm thick slabs of concrete. Heated fluid, probably glycol antifreeze, will flow through the tubes to warm up the slabs, and the heat will rise to warm up the units. This is a poured slab that is covered with plastic to trap moisture. It's important to do this when temperatures are at or above 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Here, I'm adding more WPI plus rock wool to cover the floor edges. All the joints are taped and strapping is added, first by extending the vertical boards and then nailing on the horizontal boards. The framing at the overhang is also extended to hold more strapping. This is what it looks like around the corner. The walls are finished with heat-treated wood paneling, but before that, we have to make sure that the strapping is plumb and even, which is what I'm checking for here. Before we wrap things up, I have a couple of extra things I wanted to show you. The right side units have a little sauna built out of timbers, which is pretty neat. And this is some furniture that I had the pleasure of making for the cottages back in the shop. I made 20 bench blocks and 9 shelves, all out of excess CLT pieces. The blocks are just 4 layers laminated together with glue and screws. It was fairly straightforward putting all these together, but nice to practice some finer carpentry for a bit. That's all for this video. As always, thank you so much for following along. I really appreciate it.